And guys, I have a video that I'm uploading tomorrow, which is a very serious video, and I want you guys to understand that I'm putting myself at risk by uploading it. My channel could get silenced on YouTube for a week if I upload this video, but I've thought long and hard about it and deemed it so important to upload that I'm going to do it anyway. It is a historic interview of Elon Musk. You guys might know what I'm talking about. And the analysis that I conduct in that interview, I think, is so critical that I will be putting up despite great risk to myself. The reason why there's risk, guys, is because YouTube has already taken down this interview where Elon Musk just essentially answers Socratic questions about the current administration. They've taken this down in many different cases on YouTube. And my channel already has a warning because a video discussing Kamala Harris being a communist was taken down for nudity and sexual content, even though the video had none of that in there. And upon appeal, they upheld it. And even after I contacted YouTube, they continued to uphold it, of course, because they're communist. They are doing everything they can to fight for the regime. We, the people, are the resistance. We, the people, are the populist movement. We are the movement for the little guy. And so stay tuned to what happens. No matter what, I will be on X. I will upload on X this next week, and hopefully I'll be able to upload on YouTube as well. But I appreciate all of you very much. I see your comments. I see your support. We are fighting evil, and we're on the right side of history. Kamala Harris has not been having a good week, from the disaster of going on Call Her Daddy while people are literally starving and going without water on the mountainsides of North Carolina, to going on the disgraced Howard Stern show, to now The View. She's clearly trying to replicate what a single man has been able to do for Donald Trump. That man, of course, being Elon Musk. The problem leftists are having is that they can't compete with ultra-competent masculine greatness, to put it concisely. And as a result, they rally around incompetence instead, which normally is just easy to mock. And we do that a lot here on this channel. But at this particular time, it's also putting countless lives at stake as Hurricane Milton is poised to do catastrophic damage to Florida. Currently, this hurricane is even more powerful than Helene, which wrecked North Carolina, causing enormous devastation, which the federal government failed to mediate. And even, of course, we saw them getting in the way of civilians trying to mediate the problem by grounding civilian helicopters, disbanding groups of trucks of people just bringing in water and food. So I shiver to think what's going to happen here when this hurricane, which is a Category 5, makes landfall. First, let me show you what we're dealing with, and then I'm going to show you Kamala's statements, which fell terribly flat on The View, which we know, of course, is just a propaganda network that caters to neurotic, resentful, angry single women who find reality too much to bear.
This morning, everything is moved out of the storefronts and everything is boarded up. That's the concern. Debris piles left over from Helene, this beautiful, quiet neighborhood. About 2,500 residents live here full time, because keep in mind,
with winds in excess of 180 miles an hour, debris is essentially, it's like flying bullets, except they're the size of fence posts instead of, well, bullets.
It's a growing population, right? You have a lot of tourists that come in and come out. But for the people that call Lido Key home all year round...
What a crazy coincidence that two unprecedented storm systems are hitting red states.
Their lives are
at this time of year
right now out on a sidewalk, and that's going to be a very complicated scenario come tomorrow morning, which is the earliest onset of storm surge that is possible. Just the beginning. And every street is just lined on both sides as if you're going through a tunnel of snow, but instead of the snow, it is people's homes. It's their belongings, it's their memories, it's their furniture, it's their mattresses.
At least Kamala Harris is giving them $750. Maybe they can Uber Eats themselves like 5 meals or something, given the inflation of food prices these days.
And you just have one lane that goes in and one lane that goes out, and there's no way to get rid of that debris before the storm surge arrives from Milton.
Maybe a 2-for-1 deal on burritos as they're trying to go through their water swamp belongings in the street. At least we're putting the immigrants in hotels, though.
Its way through, really. You talking about the flight here, that was something that surprised me, Craig. The flight was packed. I mean, they were asking people if they would be willing to fly another day.
Dude, the footage of those trees blowing in the wind like that takes me back to my childhood, because growing up, I was in the suburbs of Houston, and we had to evacuate 2 times that I could remember. One time when I was too young to remember, for hurricanes. One of them was Katrina. And I remember being in the car, our dog behind me, mom and dad in the front, right? And the road just totally slammed. It took us like 6 hours to drive north to Austin. But these people, where are they going to drive to? Half of Florida is going to get hit by this. And the highways, I mean, I could show you footage of the highways, but they're also slammed.
To leave, we're at a higher point within the Tampa Bay area in the downtown spot, but we're on standby as well to get evacuated.
Absolutely. It's all about life and protecting yourselves. Britta Maroon, we'll check.
So given that it's all about life and protecting ourselves, let's listen to what's going on here on this shell of a platform that calls for the deportation of people like Elon Musk. Oh, no biggie. Just a guy who's accomplishing what NASA can't with rockets, revolutionizing the car industry with the biggest electric car company in the world. Yeah, let's deport him, but not the illegal immigrants that are committing violent crimes. Anyway, yeah, we're women that are voting for Harris.
Right now, there is a monster storm barreling towards my state of Florida.
Yeah.
A place that's still
Dude, she's trying not to laugh and cackle right now. It's disgusting.
reeling from Hurricane Helene. Trump is lying, claiming that the...
Oh my gosh, dude, of course. Dude, okay, so they mentioned the existential threat, right? And then it's like, and then Trump is going to make it worse. He's lying.
Biden administration is intentionally withholding aid from the areas where...
Oh, it's not intentional. They just mishandled the money. They spent it on illegal immigrants. FEMA spent $1 billion on illegal immigrants, and that's verifiable through mainstream headlines because they actually bragged about it. And so it's been 5 days, people have died, and they're giving out $750? But of course they bring up Trump, dude. A man who's not even in power to do anything. It's the classic female position of not being able to take accountability.
Republicans live, and that FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants. Ironically, that is some...
Dude, they bragged about it. Yeah, this is the New York Post. The same organization that broke the Hunter Biden laptop story that, you know, turned out to be true. This was published just 5 days ago. What a disgrace. And the women are blaming a competent masculine billionaire who's not even in power when they're the ones in power. So they want to be victims while being the ones responsible for victimizing people. It's so perverse.
Thing he did in 2019. What do you think the effect of these lies are?
What's crazy is that nobody is believing them, but on top of telling lies that no one believes, they're not addressing the problem. We're the ones who are trying to get them to address the problem. They're the ones that are inverting truth and not addressing the problem because they're literally the current administration.
Why is he doing this?
It's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility.
So guys, to be clear, what our current administration is doing about the historic hurricane that's about to make landfall called Milton is blaming Donald Trump for accusing them of not taking responsibility for the problem. This is the current position of the left.
And frankly, callousness. So...
Again, we see the inversion of the truth, which is classically feminine. Trump is callous. Meanwhile, he's organizing relief efforts with Elon Musk to provide internet access to these people so that they can actually be found and rescued. So we see the counterfeit compassion, the counterfeit virtue, the inversion of truth. And yes, the American people can see through this. But what I'm demonstrating here is that there is no limit to the kinds of games they will try to play, even when lives are at stake. They're, again, the ones in power, and they're talking about a man who he isn't.
Lives are literally at stake right now. I traveled to Georgia.
They're talking about him as if he's a competing government or something. Right now, Trump has the support of the American people, yes, but not government agencies. Those are theirs to wield.
To North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. In Georgia, I met a woman...
Was that before or after Caller Daddy? Oh, man.
...who, just days earlier, her husband was killed in their home by a fallen tree. Days later, I met with her and her daughter.
Bro, it's so perverse to see the counterfeit compassion on display. A video's coming on this tomorrow, more about that later. But she's trying to wield victimhood here rather than talking about ideas. Any person can talk about, then I met a victim, and they were victims. Yeah, they're victims because you haven't taken enough action. $750, really?
And them losing everything for the sake of himself. But this is so consistent about Donald Trump. He puts himself before the needs of others. I fear that he really lacks empathy.
And then it pans out, and you just see a bunch of old single women that are overweight, bro. You can't make up the archetype. It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. So, what is your plan for helping Floridians through the historical Hurricane Milton? Well, you see, Donald Trump is accusing us of not taking responsibility. Anyway, Donald Trump is a bad person, and my answer to how we're going to deal with that is Donald Trump is a bad person. Like, they're the ones in power. The nation can see. This is the way they operate. Oh, would you like $750 to deal with that? Maybe you could buy a banana with the inflation that I've created.
On a very basic level, to care about
it's frankly psychopathic.
Suffering of other people and then understand the role of a leader is not to be.
Oh my gosh, let's hear her say the role of a leader, and then let's juxtapose it with going on The View to blame a man who isn't in power for my failings.
People down, it's to lift people up.
Oh my gosh, after she just spent like this entire interview tearing down a man who literally has done nothing but help people, bringing in Starlink by coordinating with Elon Musk, coordinating other relief efforts, who can't even command government agencies.
Absolutely.
Especially in a time of crisis. So, obviously, this is not an issue that is about partisanship or politics for certain leaders, but maybe is for others. What you also...
And then we see the final inversion of truth, which is utterly psychopathic, saying that for her opponents, it's political, after spending minutes on national television saying this is only political. This is political insofar as your political party is in power and is failing. The other side and the American people are calling you out as failing, and then you're playing the victim. The real victims are the ones on the mountain without water. The real victims are the ones who can't get internet connection because FEMA turned away for hours in a row Elon Musk's effort to deliver Starlink via helicopter so that people could reach rescuers. It was only after Elon Musk called the governor up himself and said, "What is going on?" did they allow the helicopters to land to deliver Starlink. The victims are not Kamala Harris, even though she wants you to think that she is. And after this hurricane hits Florida, whatever the devastation, she will try to play the victim again while people suffer. It's despicable. If it sounds like I'm upset, it's because I am, and you should be upset. Because people with these psychological distributions, these feminine psychological distributions, should be nowhere near the levers of power when it's time to help people, and what you need is competence rather than feigned moral virtue. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And guys, I have a video that I'm uploading tomorrow, which is a very serious video, and I want you guys to understand that I'm putting myself at risk by uploading it. My channel could get silenced on YouTube for a week if I upload this video, but I've thought long and hard about it and deemed it so important to upload that I'm going to do it anyway. It is a historic interview of Elon Musk. You guys might know what I'm talking about, and the analysis that I conduct in that interview I think is so critical that I will be putting up despite great risk to myself. The reason why there's risk, guys, is because YouTube has already taken down this interview where Elon Musk just essentially answers Socratic questions about the current administration. They've taken this down in many different cases on YouTube, and my channel already has a warning because a video discussing Kamala Harris being a communist was taken down for nudity and sexual content, even though the video had none of that in there. And upon appeal, they upheld it. And even after I contacted YouTube, they continued to uphold it, of course, because they're communist. They are doing everything they can to fight for the regime. We, the people, are the resistance. We, the people, are the populist movement. We are the movement for the little guy. And so stay tuned to what happens. No matter what, I will be on X. I will upload on X this next week, and hopefully I'll be able to upload on YouTube as well. But I appreciate all of you very much. I see your comments. I see your support. We are fighting evil, and we're on the right side of history.